Everyone, this is Ajay Yusuf, and I'm going to explain for you Unit 9, The Red Badge of Courage. This is actually for Grade 8. It is an English lesson at Finnish Systems Schools. We're going to start from page 220. Actually, this lesson is for explaining page 220. The outcomes that are expected for you guys to have after this lesson is to understand the text, to be able to identify new words and to put these new words into sentences. Now, open your book, page 220, and start with me because it is actually a novel. It is an excerpt of a novel. And we're going to talk about events. There's a plot, there's characters, and so on. So you should follow me. And what you see on the right is actually the words you have. The words you have in your the new vocabs, the new words that you have in the text, which you have in your left. Okay, so this approached chapter is an excerpt from the classic 1895 novel set during the American Civil War. So it is actually a short structure. A short structure, short meaning from a novel. So a short text taken from a novel. Okay, from the classic novel, which was set in the American Civil War. Okay, so we're going to start with chapter 1. And as you can see, it is a novel. And it is they are taking the main events of the novel. They are putting it in a text so that it will not be too long. A novel, it is like a story, a longer story. Writing a longer story. It has events, it has a plot, it has characters, it has settings and so on. Okay, novel. Henry. So we have character 1, which is Henry, perceived now that it did not greatly matter what kind of soldiers he was going to fight, so long as they fought, which fact no one disputed. There was a more serious problem. He lay in his bunk, pondering upon it. He tries to mathematically prove to himself that he would not run from battle. Actually, this is what he means, that there's a guy which is a soldier, which is his name Henry. Okay, Henry is trying to understand or to think about something in a particular way, which is that it did not greatly matter what kind of soldiers he was going to fight. So he's not caring. It does not matter how kind of soldiers he's going to fight. Okay, what kind of soldiers they're going to fight, so long as they fought, which fact no one disputed. What do you mean by disputed? Disputed is actually a serious argument or disagreement. A serious argument or disagreement. As long there was a more serious problem. He lay in his bunk. Bunk is actually a narrow bed that is attached to the wall. For example, in a train, in a ship, so on. It is actually like two beds above each other. So this is what they mean by bunk. Okay, as you see in your page 220, and I'm going to show you a picture of it. He is laying in his bunk, pondering. He's spending time thinking carefully and seriously about the problem he has. He's trying to think. He is thinking, trying to figure a solution. He tries to mathematically prove, which is to show that something is true. That he's trying to show that something is true, that he would not run from a battle. That he's not going to run from a battle when two two teams are fighting against each other. So this is what you call battle. When you have a battle, like two opposing teams, countries, and so on, they are having battle. They are having fight. Okay, two sides. That he would not run from a battle. That he is not going to run from a battle. So this is actually something that is that shows you that there's something here, that there's something missing, that there's something about this novel. Okay. Now this is the punk, which is the narrow bed. As you see, that like two beds above each other. There is on trains. You can see them on trains, on ships, and so on. So this is actually what I mean by punk. Now, in the same page, we have like previously, he had never felt obliged to wrestle too seriously with this question. So, before that, he was never. He did not have to. He is not. He did not have to wrestle, to fight someone by holding them, pulling or pushing them, to wrestle, to have like this conflict too seriously with this question. In his life, he had taken certain things for guaranteed, for sure, that he has taken something for sure, never challenging his belief in ultimate success, that he's not going to challenge his beliefs. He's not going to challenge what he believes in ultimate success, so that he can have like ultimate success, and bothering little about means and roads. But he was confronted with a thing of moment. He was actually like confronts that that a problem appears, and he appears in front of him, and he has to deal with it. So he had a problem, and he has to like find a solution, and to like deal with it, to deal with this problem. It had suddenly appeared to him that perhaps in a battle he might run. That maybe if he is a soldier, and battles actually, this is what soldiers do. They go to fight into battles. So he is having a problem. He is confronting a problem, which is that he might run from a battle. That he might run from a battle. He was forced to admit that, as far as war was concerned, he knew nothing of himself. That as long as there is war after war after war, so he did not know anything or nothing of himself. So he did not have like time to think of himself and what he's going to do or something. A little panic, fear grew in his mind. He has like a panic fear grew in his mind. As his imagination went forward to fight, he saw hideous, which is like not shown. Hideous, like it is extremely unpleasant, ugly. Okay, unpleasant or ugly. As his imagination went forward to fight, he saw hideous possibilities. He saw ugly, unpleasant possibilities. He contemplated, which means to think about something that you might do in the future. To think about something. The lurking menace of the future. So he was thinking about something in the future, that if there is danger, okay, if there's a danger exists, or threat in the future, and failed in an effort to see himself standing stoutly, to stand like bravely and determined in the midst of them. So he's having like a dangerous situation. He's thinking about the future, that if something happened, like a dangerous situation or something, a battle or war, and there's a threat, and he can't stand bravely determined in the middle of all of this, in the midst, which is what happens what happened around him, what is happening around him. That's there's like two, like one called another, and so on, like a battle, like the environment of a battle, the environment of war, like everybody's shouting, there's blood everywhere, and knives, you can hear knives, guns, and so on. So if he can't stand bravely if I can't stand bravely with all these voices, all of these events that is happening around him, he recalled his vision of a breaking bladed glory. But in the shadow of the impending tumult, he suspected them to be impossible picture. So, if he can't stand, and if he can't handle this situation, he recalled his visions of broken bladed glory. So he's going to recall his visions of the glory. But in the shadow of this situation, of this unpleasant situation, which is going to happen soon, okay? With a confused, noisy, and excited situation, which is like caused by a larger crowd, he suspected them to be impossible pictures. So he is suspecting them to be impossible pictures, that these visions is going to be impossible pictures, okay? So he's like, we are in his mind. The writer here shows us what's going on in his mind as a soldier. What is he thinking about? He's thinking that he might get afraid, that he might don't want to fight anymore. So, and he has no solution but to fight. What about if he runs from the battle? He wants to save his life and so on. If he has all this crowd noises, voices, guns, blood everywhere, and he can't handle it anymore, so it's going to end. So the writer here is showing us what is going on inside the soldier's mind. What is he thinking about? What is the problem he's confronting? What is the problem he's confronting? So actually the conflict here is between Henry and himself. He is having a conflict with himself, conflict with his mind, what he's thinking about. So this is actually what the writer trying to deliver for us, that what is happening in Henry's mind. Okay, again, what you have here on your right is the new vocabs. The vocabs you have to know, you have to be familiar with. So write it down on your notebooks, vocabulary notebooks, or on your books, as you wish, but I prefer on your notebooks. Write them because you're going to have a homework. Okay? Let's continue reading. He sprang from the punk and began to pace nervously to and fro. Good Lord, what's the matter with me? He said aloud. So, he sprung he returned to its normal shape. He returned the punk to a normal shape. He jumped from the punk. He jumped from the bed he's laying into, and began to pace nervously. Began to walk or run to and fro, which is to and fro. It is actually, which means that if someone moves to and fro, they move one direction, and then back again, forward and backward. He's walking the same line, forward and backward. When someone is nervous, he do that. And he said, "Good Lord, what's the matter with me?" And he said it loud. So he's nervous, he's confused. He doesn't know what to do. So he's confused, and good Lord, he's asking God, what is the matter with me? What is the matter with me? What is happening to me? He felt that in this crisis, his laws of life were useless. So he feels in this situation, or this situation, that he has a problem, that his laws of life, that his rules, his laws of life were useless, were nothing. Whatever he had learned of himself was here of no avail. Like, it was like with no succeed in getting what he wants. So whatever he has in his life, whatever laws of him life, whatever he tried to teach himself, all of these years had no avail, which is no succeed, that he did not succeed in anything. He was as unknown quantity. He saw that he would again be obliged to experiment as he had in early youth. He must accumulate information of, we're going to continue next lesson, but he is like, when he is confused, he noticed that everything, the laws of his life, whatever he was, whatever principles he has and so on, they all remains with no avail. All did not succeed. Like with this little question he asked himself, and what the problem he is confronting with. This is what it is happening with him, that he's confused, he doesn't know what to do, he's thinking, and he is like nervous. So this is what the writer wants to show for us. Accumulate, which is to gradually get more and more money, positions, knowledge over a period of time. So he must accumulate information, he must gather information, he must have more information about something. We're going to continue it in the next lesson. Okay? And I said it again, what you have in the word is the words that you should write on your notebooks or your books, because these are the new vocabulary you should be familiar with. Okay? Badge, the title of our lesson, the red badge of courage. The red badge of courage. Badge is actually a small piece of metal or plastic that police carry to show people that they work for a particular organization. This is a picture of it. So the badge, the red badge of courage, this is the title of our lesson. And badge, which means what officers, what people who work in a certain organization hold. So this is actually what they mean by badge. Okay, don't forget that you have a homework for Sunday, which is to put the words which are accumulate, contemplated in a meaningful sentences, and your homework for Monday is to put the words tumult, obliged in a meaningful sentences also. Don't forget to check your weekly plans because you have a homeworks, and I'm really waiting for your homework so that I can check them. So don't forget to check your weekly plans, and I hope you enjoyed the lesson. Don't forget to do your homeworks because I'm going to check your lessons, your homeworks. Stay safe. This is your teacher, Isra Youssef. Bye bye.